In this video, I want to show you how you can track the activity of the students in your classes in Mathspace. So in Mathspace, logging in as a teacher, coming to the classes section, choosing the specific class you want to look at. If you come to the activity tab, this is where you get to look at how much work the students are doing in Mathspace at a deeper level than what you could see in the Insights page. I'm looking at the last 14 days, but I can change that to a different time period. I can even select my own custom time period here. So I could look at all of term 1, for example. I could look at February and March, and I can look at the students' activity. So I can see in the last 2 weeks, I've had some students working in Mathspace. So on average, students have been getting 22 questions correct across this time period. So this is all the questions they've worked on in the past 2 weeks. They're spending on average about 15 minutes in Mathspace, and then they're earning this amount of points on average. So in the last 14 days, scrolling my mouse over some of these avatars, I get details of the students. So I can see Rosa answered about 7 questions in 7 minutes. I can see Mary, 8 questions in about 11 minutes. And so these students have been doing less work in less time compared to the students in the top right quadrant. So I can see Claude, for example, this is a lot, 40 questions in 18 minutes. I'll be honest, that was me, just answering questions really quickly. I can see Alma as well, 34 questions in 26 minutes. So they could be working at a lower year level, which is why they're answering questions so quick, or could be a teacher like me, working a little faster than what we would expect a student to normally work at. And so I can see all the students in my class, they've spent on average about 15 minutes, no more than 30 minutes in this 2-week time period. There are 4 other students that haven't completed any questions in the last 14 days. All their avatars are sitting in the bottom left corner here. These students haven't done any work. Scrolling down, I get a little bit more of a deeper dive into that type of activity. So I can see Alma, for example, 34 questions correct, 6 questions partially correct, 2 questions incorrect. And so then I can see the amount of time they've spent, the amount of points they've earned, and what was that last task that they were working on. And so I can look at that data for all of my class. Coming to live mode, this is where you can track live the activity of your students. So you could have all of your students in a computer lab, for example. They're all sitting on their individual devices and they're answering questions in Mathspace. You don't have to be constantly walking around the room to see if people are working or not. We could also think of a remote teaching context. If you're teaching students who are working from home, you can actually check on whether the students are working. So this doesn't check whether the students are logged in or not. This is actually checking on who's active. Okay, so who has answered questions in the last 5 minutes. So that's what it means to be active. I can see none of my students are active at the moment. No one's done any work in the last 5 minutes. It's only this one student, Claude, who I can see has been active in the past 90 minutes. Okay, so that's this live mode tracks live data in the last 90 minutes and it refreshes automatically. So every minute this graph will update as the students start to answer more questions and spend more time in Mathspace. So you don't have to click refresh or anything like that. So you'll actually get live feedback on whether there are any students struggling, if they've been getting a couple of questions wrong in a particular subtopic. Okay, and you can also look at those students who are active, idle, and inactive. So clicking these tabs will show all of the students on the graph that are inactive. So I can see, although Claude has done work in the last 90 minutes, Claude is inactive because they haven't done any work in the last 5 minutes. I should note here that this activity isn't for a particular task that I've set in Mathspace. So remember, looking over the last 14 days, I've had different students working on different tasks. So that's great if I've really personalized the learning of my students in Mathspace. So they could all be working on different things, but I can still have this quick sense check on how everyone is doing. How many questions are they getting right in Mathspace? How much time are they spending in Mathspace? And then doing that in a live capacity as well. So in a given class, as they're working in front of me or perhaps working from home. So that's the activity page and how to use it either over a given period of time of your choice or in a live capacity.